Hey, sorry you haven't heard from me in a while. I've been busy trying to find out about this place. You're not gonna believe me, and I don't even know if I really believe it myself, but I guess a part of me must, because I'm going. It's far, on an abandoned road, a few miles from that power plant in the mountains. It was hard to find anything about it. I started on message boards, and I ended up in a chat room talking with people who know people who know people who've gone. They said a lot of crazy stuff, but the one thing that they all agreed on is that in that house, there's a room that can take you to the other side, to see the people that you've lost again. The thing is, no one who's gone has ever come back, and that's why I'm writing you. Not for advice, not to get you to talk me out of going. Actually, by the time you read this, I'll already be there. I just wanted to let you know, in case I don't come back.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Daryl. That felt really weird to say, because I didn't add the tuss before that. I'm actually wondering if I should even add the tuss before Daryl or just introduce myself as Daryl, but I've said tuss Daryl for so many years now. Anyway, today I wanted to record a Give It a Whirl on Heartworm, or should I say, re-record a review of the demo for Heartworm. Long story short, I recently wrapped the demo, and I had started the demo originally last October, I believe, when the demo originally went live, and, well, I finally finished it after having to redo the footage, recapture the footage because the footage was borked. Not in a bad way, it was just recording at a faster frame rate than what I had actually set up in the DaVinci Resolve software. And anybody who understands video editing knows that if your clip is a different frame rate from whatever the project is, you're just asking for trouble, so one has to change. In this case, I just re-recorded the footage. I re-downloaded the demo, and I said, okay, I'm just gonna play through a good chunk of it up to maybe a couple of combat encounters, and then I'll call it there. And of course that means that I have to re-record the audio as well, which is what I'm doing now, so hopefully it'll be more succinct this time. So I'm going to start with the most interesting part of the game, at least in regards to the vibe and stuff like that. The game has a PS1 very retro aesthetic to it, kind of like Alyssa did, but the difference is Alyssa borrowed more heavily from old school Resident Evil versus Heartworm, which borrows more from, well, old school Silent Hill. Although Heartworm still shares a lot of DNA with Resident Evil, I could kind of put them both in the separate camps. If there's one word I would describe Heartworm with, just from the demo alone, it's atmosphere. The game really knows atmosphere. Vincent, the dev behind it, really understands what it takes to make good atmosphere for a survival horror title. And I know it sounds like I'm blowing a lot of smoke up his ass or something like that, but what I'm really saying here is that it's really easy to get it wrong. So it's nice to see more cases of it being done right, be it in Alyssa, Hollow Body, and now Heartworm. As for the narrative, I'm going to read the synopsis of it since it's easier to succinct it this way. It's easier to summarize it this way. So, Sam, the protagonist, crushed by the deaths of those closest to her, falls down an internet rabbit hole that promises a reunion with those she's lost. Instead, she finds herself at a supposedly supernatural house in the mountains, hoping to find a way to make contact. So in other words, you've got another case of somebody's going through some shit and is doing something completely asinine and no when it comes to the horror genre in an attempt to get what they want, which, it being horror, this should be how it goes. If she was doing something that is smart, like simply just, I don't know, I don't want to say seeking therapy, but like talking to someone, getting some form of help, etc. Of course, doing this is the way you get horror game plots or horror movie plots. You can't do sensible shit when it comes to horror. It's kind of just a rule. You just don't. So the next question I want to answer is Heartworm scary? I'd say it's more surrealist horror in a way, where you look at something with more questions than you do fear. Like, the game can make me tense on occasion, but at the same time, it's more of a sense of wonder. Like, I want to know more about everything that's going on. I want to understand why the enemies in this game are like VHS staticky bodies walking around. I want to know more about what it all means. In other words, I am very intrigued by the mystery it presents, because Heartworm's gameplay in of itself, if you were to call it a bog standard survival horror game, if you were to be cynical about it, I could see how you would come to that conclusion. But I would much rather have a very competent survival horror that wears its influences on its sleeve in this case, coupled with a very intriguing mystery, versus a complete copy paste. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that really gets the point across that I'm trying to say here. I guess to reiterate what I just said, what I'm really saying here is I like that Heartworm feels safe in what it's inspired by. So it's doing that. Okay, cool. You provide something serviceable from a survival horror standpoint, and you are nailing the vibes. Now, what else are you going to bring to the table to make me really want to pursue your game over just going back and playing some of the other games that give that vibe? And I'm just saying that the mystery of what's going on is what's keeping me around for it. So, long story short, the game has great atmosphere. The story is very intriguing, and so is the mystery around all of it. And the game itself wears its influences on its sleeve. So if you've played Resident Evil, like the older ones, or you've played Silent Hill, the older ones, then you kind of know what you're getting into here gameplay-wise. I will say, though, that combat is kind of interesting, because it is kind of like your standard, like, you point your weapon at the thing you want to kill, then you kill it. But because these enemies are so unorthodox, they have their own gimmicks. So the staticky enemies I was referring to before, you have to attack those with your camera, which she has. It's her grandfather's camera, Sam's grandfather's camera. She uses that to fight against those enemies. And if you play Fatal Frame, then you'll understand that when these enemies are hit with the camera, or hit with the flash of the camera, then they'll teleport, move somewhere else, and rinse and repeat. But what's interesting is it seems like there are different types of these staticky enemies, which I get how you could probably say that's expected, but I wasn't expecting the way that it went down. So the blue enemy types, the blue staticky enemies, they have this ability where if you come across them, they see you and they start approaching you and stuff. Oh no, here comes the combat music. You think you can just run away and run away easily. No, not really, because they have this ability to kind of send that static or whatever it is they're sending at you to you and then slow you down. So you're effectively running in place. So you don't really have a choice but to fight or just do your best to kite them so you can get away. And those enemies seem to go down between maybe 6 to 9 shots with a film, from your camera, which only tells me that combat, you really should be trying to avoid it so you can save up on film and stuff. Number one rule of games that try to emulate Silent Hill and Resident Evil: only kill when you have to, or if you have an abundance, if the game gives you an abundance of like ammo and stuff. My general rule is that, at least. And the opposite is also true. If you kill an enemy and it drops like ammo, then the game is encouraging you to do so. So feel free to keep shooting stuff. This game, however, no, those enemies are just an obstacle. So only take out the ones that are going to be in your way when you're navigating a specific area a lot. Others can be ignored. The red enemy type doesn't seem to have a thing where it can like slow you down or anything like that, but instead it just hits like a truck. So it's also teleporting around and stuff, but if it smacks you, it does a decent amount of damage. And the last thing I want to comment on before I wrap up this video is that the music in Heartworm is really nice. It's what you'd expect from a game that's, again, emulating the survival horror games of old, or at least the big ones like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. A lot of piano and a lot of ambience. So I'm looking forward to see where that can also expand once the full game is out. Which, by the way, I only learned today. I don't know if the news came out today or if it came out a few days ago. I don't remember. But apparently, Heartworm almost didn't happen because Vincent ran into some financial struggles and stuff and needed a publisher to publish this game. He finally found one, which is really good. It's a publisher I'm not familiar with, or at least I don't think I'm familiar with, Dread XP. But either way around, he found a publisher. Development can continue to its completion, and Heartworm will drop next year. I don't know what it'll drop on outside of Steam/PC, but it'll definitely be on Steam at the very least. So yeah, with what I played of Heartworm's demo, very strong start. I really want to see where this is going to go once the game is out next year. And that's it with this first impressions video, this Give It a Whirl video. Again, I do have some reviews in the pipeline. I have Wanted Dead's script written out. I know I don't normally do scripts anymore, but that one needs one. Trust me. I am excited to talk about that whenever I get around to it. Signalis, I'm over halfway done with that game. I know it's been a year and I only bring it up occasionally, but there have been so many games. Y'all know how 2023 was. I was playing so many other games, and YouTube has not been a priority for me for various reasons, including recently, considering, personal circumstances. And I recently started playing Solstice, which is just something that I was playing casually. Then I thought, sure, you know what, I'll review it. Solstice doesn't seem like that long of a game. Signalis is not that long of a game, and Wanted Dead is done. It's really just a matter of me actually buckling down, getting those wrapped up, and actually editing stuff. And thankfully, I've got DaVinci Resolve at a point now where I'm like, I understand how to get the most out of you, at least for what I'm trying to do now. Because one of the pains in the ass with trying to edit stuff for reviews, which led to me procrastinating and stuff, which is why you've seen an uptick recently in videos, was that trying to play the footage in the preview while I'm editing in the timeline, I'd have to wait minutes for that to finish rendering or caching every time I make a change. So I'm doing more waiting than I am editing, and it was demotivating. Now that problem is rectified. So what I want to do is take the games that are releasing during, take the games that have demos releasing during the Steam's Next Fest, or Steam Next Fest, and then just make a Give It a Whirl video based on the ones that I really want to talk about. Because the original purpose of the Give It a Whirl videos, when I started that 2 years ago, oh my god, that was 2 years ago, it started with Alyssa. Can you believe that? I didn't realize that until I scrolled down a little bit in my videos list and saw Alyssa was 2 years old. I'm like, there had to be ones before that, right? No, no, that has just as many videos as my old discussion and retrospective videos, which I also keep saying I'll get back to. I just don't have a lot to really talk about there yet. But the original purpose of the Give It a Whirl videos was to have something to hold over between bigger reviews that I'm trying to put more effort into. Not that I wasn't putting effort into them before, but I've learned a few new tricks that I really wanted to put into those reviews. And now that I'm no longer held back by the tech, I can actually do that. So with that said, this video has gone on long enough. I'm Tusk Daryl. I hope you guys have enjoyed your stay. Like and subscribe if you want to, or don't. Up to you. See you later. Bye.